Hey everyone, Rather Incoherent here, back with more Rome Total War Remastered as the Julii. It feels so weird to not have like a big stressful war I immediately point to. Like, Pontus isn't putting up much of a fight, the Seleucids have an army entirely of militia, because they don't start with any fucking infrastructure anywhere in their lands. So these wars are going smoothly. I'm building a legion here, which is going to show up on Armenia and destroy them instantly. They're not expecting that, they won't be ready for it. I'm building legions in Rome to do the same thing, well, to Rome. The wars that might fail are also like the Numidian wars, the ones that have no chance of really failing that hard. Like, I'll have to actually send an army. Like, these wars are so not serious that I'm currently planning on how to get all my troops off the continent more than actually planning to fight Numidia. But by the looks of things, we had already finished the last turn I recorded, so let's hit end turn and see what happens. Ah yes, I'm telling my spies to come back to Italy, because presently they're fucking around in Germany and it's not particularly useful, since I never plan to go to war with them. There's a Carthaginian army up at Trier, which is deeply confusing to me. I have no idea why that is there.
Dear friend.
Alright, Britannia, I've got a better idea. I'll give you trade rights and my map information if you pay me $2,000.
A most generous proposal.
I have no interest in an alliance with Britannia or anyone else. But I do, and I especially don't have interest in it enough to pay $6,000 to make it happen. Also, I realized right at the end I had $18,000 I should have spent last turn, so oh well. We'll spend that on infrastructure this turn. Can't be bothered reading end of term reports. There's a war between Egypt and Parthia. And no great news in terms of the faction. I found an agent from Scythia. There is rioting in Lepsis Magna. Well, they seem to have got it out of their system, but actually, I don't want to recruit peasants here to keep the population happy. Because when you actually look at the population, there aren't that many fucking people here. Death stalks the land in Thessalonica. So far, the plague has been contained to Thessalonica. Let's hope it stays that way. And Manius Julius just wants to adopt all the kids. Where'd he show up? In the Italian heart of my empire. I've got generals in every city except for Segesta and Mediolanum. So, let's just send these two off to Segesta and Mediolanum. And I will continue moving all of my units to be retrained down in Iridium eventually. Now, I do want to recruit the next unit of peasants. I think this last one's going to be the one that gets Mediolanum's already grown. Okay, so I'd forgotten that Mediolanum had finally hit city size. This is really good. Patavium needs another 8,000 men before it actually grows, but I can live with that. First, I need to be recruiting barracks in both of these towns, well, all three of these towns, which I am in the process of. I need to be making a barracks in Patavium as well, because there's no point actually getting up to the Marian reforms if I don't have the barracks to recruit the legions in the first place. Now, I want to make sure that just being right here is enough. Patavium currently has 16,570. Delete this unit. The delete key doesn't do that, I guess. Now it has 16,810, yeah. So, it still works exactly how you would think it does, which is good for me, because it means I can transfer population very quickly over to that city. And honestly, I'm going to be transferring population from Segestica as well, which has much less population to spare, but it's never going to be growing to city size, so it doesn't matter as much to me. Also, it feels pretty bad that Patavium doesn't have a port. Like, if I actually check how much money this port would be making, hypothetically, yeah, it's 222 a turn. It pays for itself in only 4 turns. But I think I actually don't have time to make a port at this point. That's something I would have needed to do a long time ago. Because now I just care about the legions and closing out the game. Like, I have enough income. I obviously should have built a port here, but oh well. I'm going to go through and build infrastructure in every town that can. I'm going to build mines in Thessalonica. Better farms in Apollina. Better farms in Larissa. Sewers in Corinth. Actually, no. I make better barracks in Corinth so that it can start meaningfully recruiting infantry. I think I'm going to recruit a blacksmith in Sparta so that I can retrain all of my legions down here with better weaponry. I would like to do the same thing up here at some point with one of these cities. Build land clearance in Halicarnassus. And mines in Pergamum. A basic trader here in Nicomedia since it doesn't have the population to recruit anything anyway. I'm going to upgrade the mines in Byzantium. Better farms in Campus Iazyges. I actually am going to make an archery range here in Campus Getae. Something I've been thinking is that it would benefit me greatly if I actually could recruit archers in my land instead of just relying on mercenaries. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to build 2 buildings to get to archers anywhere in Rome's core, which sucks, but oh well. That's not true. Actually, here in Batavium, I can recruit archers with just one building. So I will make the archery range in Batavium rather than having it produce more infantry. Produce land clearance in Tingi. I guess barracks or trader, doesn't really matter which to me, and Nepti. Gonna go with trader, it has to be the correct choice since I'm not using either. Cyrene is finished. Okay, so the other thing I forgot to do last turn was to manage this army of mercenaries. Now, I don't want these fucking barbarian peasants. These are terrible. These are some of the worst units you could possibly put in your army, and I would argue they actually lower the quality once you have a full stack, because they're going to rout and risk your morale when they do. I'm going to recruit a new unit of peasants, and I'm going to take all of this and just get it out of the town. And they're going to be fine with those terms. He's going to start moving south to be one of the legions as well. Apparently, he decided to route all the way over here because he's afraid of Skiles, who I believe was once a Dacian family member, is now just walking around next to my forts out of petty anger and spite. Oh hey, Britannia is actually becoming the dominant German superpower, it looks like. Or barbarian superpower, by taking out Germany. So, next on the list, let's go find this city. And it's looking like next turn we're going to come siege them and they're going to die. Although I think I'll use this as an opportunity to test something that I saw Legend of Total War doing in Old Rome, which is to see if the Sally 4th AI is still absolutely brain-dead idiocy. Because what I'm going to try to do is put one unit of Equites here, and then more than one tile away, but next to the city still, put the rest of my Equites. So if they Sally 4th, it would pull all of them. But the AI, at least in the past, wouldn't recognize this and would Sally 4th anyway. And I mean, yeah, that's cheesy bullshit, but if it's in the game, I'm absolutely going to be doing it. Now, since he's actually backed off of this siege, I guess I'll just have this city build a new boat, right? Or is there one coming down? There is one coming down. I'll send it this way, though, and have this boat come back. I've learned my lesson, I'm getting him off the ship. And since this boat is coming down to the port, actually it doesn't need to, it can come down to here. And we're finally getting our standing armies out of Africa and going somewhere they need to be, like our Roman allies. I'm going to be honest, I look at Sicily, and I see these fucking Scipii stacks, and it's just like, you know, maybe I could just ignore Sicily. They can have it. Fuck them. Because I can take Croton, Tarentum, and Capua with less resistance than any one of these cities. Hopefully they'll have so many armies it won't matter that this is well defended. Here on the east side of the Numidian flank, or Numidian wars, there's a unit down here, and it's an actual somewhat threatening unit. I say somewhat threatening, but like not really, right? Are there mercs available? No. Oh, I thought this was just a general. I didn't realize it had 2 cavalry with it. I'm going to keep pushing ahead with this then. And if he wants to come fight us, that's fine. If not, he'll probably be dead before that army gets anywhere relevant. So that's Africa handled, and I've already handled my infrastructure and troop movements. Which means all that's left is going to be these wars in the east. Now Pontus is splitting up and trying to like pull my attention in multiple locations, but I don't think it's actually going to matter very much. First I have to make this unit move, because I'm going to deal with the Seleucids first. And it looks like I'm just having a massive field battle here where I wipe out all of this. The reinforcements are predominantly Peltast, and if I look at the battle map, their reinforcements will be coming from behind them for sure. So I just want to, whatever my plan is, execute it quickly before their armies get joined up. Alright, so I'm doing basically the same thing I do every time. Hastati in the front, range behind them, random mercenaries covering the flanks. But I've got my cavalry as far forward as they can go because I immediately want to start charging. Whatever the enemy is doing, I would like to deal with it quickly. And in dealing with it quickly, I would like to prevent any situation where the armies get together and I actually have a real fight on my hands. Because this army is nothing but hoplites. I have better ranged units, I don't have to be worried about them. And as soon as these are in range, I'm going to tell them to stop and just continue firing. These Peltas are in range now. The Stadi are in range as well. And it's like, I could just destroy this with missiles. I don't actually have to fight them. If they don't want to engage quickly, that's actually great for me. And yeah, they're not engaging. They're just taking all of these projectiles. They've lost 10% of their men. And at this point, what I want to do is have all of you fire at him. I want these to cut fire at will and come this direction. I want all of these to pull up here. And this hoplite to come here to defend their flank in case it's relevant. I want these to just move back a little bit to make sure they don't get engaged. And now for these units that remain, I'm going to have them charge their closest enemies. And I have these Thracian mercenaries run wide around the side. Because at this point, I think I've adequately dealt with this stuff, broken their formation such that, yeah, this is a chain route, actually.
The gods have filled the heart of the enemy general with fear. Now he flees the field like a coward. Great gods be praised.
I'm sure there was a dead phalanx in there somewhere.
Fear makes a home in our
Okay.
enemies' hearts.
So now, having dealt with that completely,
They are not soldiers, only frightened rabbits.
I'm just going to reform the same structure facing the old enemy, or the new enemy rather. I'm going to have my cavalry run all of this down. So this should be very easy from this point forward. I wasn't expecting to chain route that easily, but it is militia hoplites without a general, so that's pretty much predictable. I honestly thought this would be a lot harder than it was. Jesus. And make sure that everyone is on fire at will. I'm going to pull all of my cavalry back to make sure that none of them are actually getting hit. And it looks like one of these units just throwing spears at a single man. Seems like a super efficient use of their time. Okay, now that I'm out of range of these peltasts, I'll actually hunt everything else down for experience. So these hoplites are just like fully in the middle of the army, nowhere near defending anything. Which is a very confusing decision from my perspective. And I'm really only giving these Hastati attack commands to make sure the peltasts aren't free to throw. Okay, so at this point, I want all of my ranged units shooting these hoplites. I want all of my melee units just form up near the hoplites to scare them, and let the equites continue running down. And honestly, this hoplite's going to break as soon as there are actually enemies near it. They have no interest in fighting this, just like the other 7 militia hoplites that have already routed this battle. Yeah, no, that's 85%. I got everything. So that is an entire Seleucid stack wiped out with almost no losses. And we start pushing our way into the heartland of the Seleucid Empire. If I had known this was here, I could have laid siege to it. My cavalry have enough movements, it's just the infantry holding them back. But I didn't know this city was here, and so now since I'm next to it, I'm in its zone of control and I can't move except for attacking it, and since the whole stack can't move, I can't attack from the stack. Which is slightly frustrating. It looks like we're going to have a real battle in big air quotes next turn, but from what I can see, this army is also all militia hoplites, and based on the starting infrastructure of the Seleucids, their entire army is militia hoplites, militia javelins, and militia javcap. They don't actually have an army. So they might have a whole shitload of men, but it's going to be very easy to kill them all every time. Before I ignore the stack, though, can I hire new mercenaries? Cilician pirates, sure. What are you, actually? That's a good question, and I did hire them, but I probably should have checked this. Offensively, they're just better Hastati, but their defense is complete trash. Now, the next step is the Siege of Mazaka, which is, actually losable. Look how close the balance of power is, in spite of the fact that they have almost nothing. And I should have hired those mercenaries here, I think. Okay, no, it's a different pool. I feel less bad now. So let's figure out how we're going to pull this apart once we're actually on the battle map and we see how the enemy's moving. Okay, let's see where their peltasts have deployed to. It looks like they're both in the city square, actually. So we have General Cav here and here. One unit peltasts in the middle, and the other one is running to the front to defend. Looking at some of these units, for instance, the 16 and 26 that combined wouldn't even be half a stack, I feel pretty bad about this. I have a very emaciated army that was originally shit to begin with. Now, luckily for me, the enemy seems to have, like, actually just 2 family members and some random dudes they gave javelins to. Like, are they even in armor? They just look like they're wearing clothes, right? Like, they have a uniform and a chainmail coif, and that's about it. So I think I can handle this. It's just I feel like once I actually start fighting the generals, it's going to get really nasty, and I'm not quite sure how to make it less terrible. Yeah, their generals cav outnumbers my own, but they probably have less experience than mine, so that's at least something going for me. Look at the combined size of the 3 units holding the rams. This is just sad. I actually want to send both generals up so that they can charge into the city as soon as the gates go down. So right now I'm just trying to see what the AI will do if I start sending my general in. You know, he'll pathfind. He'll do stuff. The fact that I instantly lost a unit fighting these Peltas does make me a little bit upset, but it should be fine. They should break immediately. I should be able to kill most of them. Okay. Going to pull this back and move my other general in. It looks like a whole 2 of them got away, so I'm okay with this. Didn't quite annihilate the unit, but it's fine. I don't want to risk pulling the general's cavalry ahead of me. And if I can fight the general's cav one at a time, we're actually in a strong position. Now, it doesn't necessarily look like I can do that. I'm going to put my trash spearmen on either side of this wall. My plan here is to sandwich their cavalry between spearmen and general's cavalry of my own and win the battle. Now, I don't think that's actually how it's going to happen. I will put fire at will back on my ranged units because I want as much damage going into these ahead of time as possible. Alright, it's time to charge with all of my infantry. The infantry on this side should be charging the one in the back. These Thracian mercenaries also need to go. This general needs to get in there, and this general also is going to need to get in there. Let's see how it goes. This is not like a fight I feel good about in any capacity. And you guys need to not be on fire at will anymore. Please stop. Balance of forces is even, and this one's losing badly, it looks like. Oh, they're throwing their javelins at me. Why are they throwing their javelins at things that are outside the walls? That seems like a disastrous and terrible idea. Okay, they've routed the other one, which should quickly lead to routing this one as well, because we're about to hit it in the rear. Where is my general in all this? Oh, he's right in the front, but this is routing, so it's okay. I was trying to consider whether he was more likely to die if I pulled him back. Alright, that was really good for us. I didn't think they'd just throw all of their cavalry away. It's looking like he's stuck too, so this should just be a kill on the general. Yeah. Pontus apparently not known for their tactical genius. Okay, I'm gonna take all of these just like battered shit units and just get them out of the fight. And Peltast are unfortunately pretty short-range units, so I don't trust them in the fight either. But these Scythian cavalry can still be used. Oh, what? They're sending out their last units to come fight me? Why? I'm gonna start moving these units around the side. Going to very pointedly tell these barbarian mercenaries to come to this side. I just want to buy time, really, while the flank happens. Wait, what's shooting? Oh, damn it. I'm going to have these units actually move somewhere else since they're getting shot by the tower right here because of the curved walls. And same with these units. But it looks like, in spite of this slight mismanagement because of their weirdly shaped walls, we should very quickly be able to win this since what little they have left isn't actually defending the square. And I'm just going to triple speed this because this is pretty obviously a win. It's just going to be a matter of waiting for it to happen. Yeah, and I will continue battle here for the experience. You say heroic, but the victory screen seems to disagree, sir. We lost 200 of our shit men and killed 2 of their generals. That is actually fantastic for us. That's about as good as that fight could ever reasonably go. Now, with the population here being this high, I will still enslave because I can actually tell that I'll have, yeah, at least 2,000 people left after enslaving. Going to repair. We have a pretty serious culture difference here. first things first, I'm going to combine these Thracians into one unit. There's no reason not to. And I don't know if it's worth spending time here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send forth this completely useless phalanx of 23 men and see what's happening over here. They have 2 units outside the city and 4 units in it. Oh man, this army is terrible, but with 2 highly experienced generals, I feel like I can win that. So leaving behind these 2 units that are so small they're liabilities, my stack isn't very good, but it does exist. And I want to move out now rather than later. I want to get this happening. Back in the city, I'm going to build a unit of Hastades as garrison and eventual reinforcements to an army. I'm not going to destroy their Temple of Aphrodite just yet, as it does seem like that would result in a riot for sure. I think they do manage without it, though. My spies continue back down to betray Rome. I believe I have a diplomat somewhere in the east who's unsure of his purpose in life. I wonder if I can sell new map information to the Egyptians for money.
A most generous
proposal. Yeah, it looks like I can, actually. And I'm just going to keep this diplomat at Susa, I guess. Now, one thing I do need to do that I haven't done yet is continue recruiting units in the Peloponnesus. If I had a general anywhere near the eastern half of my empire that wasn't already entrenched in a war, it would probably be worthwhile to send him down here and hire some Rhodians and Cretians, but unfortunately I don't really seem like I have access to those ranged mercenaries right now. Okay, so WASD is how you move around in the family tree. Dragging, moving to the edges, and arrow keys do nothing. I don't know why it's only got that one acceptable control method. And the reason I'm here is I'm trying to see if there is like a 15-year-old boy about to come of age. And the answer is no. Sadly not. Well, regardless, let's continue on with our eastern campaigns. This army needs to move. We have 6 Equites and 10 Hastati. It's not a terrible army. Okay, so sometimes there's a glitch where this number doesn't update because it was telling me this was 12 and not 17. It looks like I have 7 Equites and 10 Hastati. It is far and away a good enough army to do whatever I want to on this eastern front. Now, there's a temptation here to attack Cyprus, but I'm actually going to not do that and just sail this around to continue warring with the Seleucids. No reason to start all the fights at once. There's perfectly good fights to be had if I just keep going east. Now, since I have $10,000 left and I'm expected to make another... That can't be right. I've been making massive amounts of money every turn, and this is predicting me to lose 8,000 this turn. Well, I suppose what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to end my turn and see what happens economically, because this seems clearly wrong. Okay, so it looks like for some inexplicable reason that they're counting construction 26,000 against me, so I'm actually going to be making about 14,000 gold, which is way more in line with what I think should be happening. So yeah, I'm going to go around and build even low priority infrastructure at this point since I have money lying around. Let me tell you, this upsets me so much. So when you're using this UI, the main thing you would use this for is to go to idle cities and change them, right? But when you click on the city, it closes the tab. So I have to reopen it every time I go to a new city, which is just infuriating. So far, all of the idle cities are cities that literally have nothing to build. It also doesn't remember where in the list I was. Rhodes can build a blacksmith, but I don't care about that at all. Same with the barracks in Salona. And lastly, in Sardis, there's nothing to build. Okay. So I say I'm going to go around and build low priority infrastructure, but I've already done that. This 10,000 is just extra money, which to me means it's time to build a diplomat and start bribing enemy armies. Actually, that's not what it means. It means that I'm going to have a huge buffer of income for once these legions finally come online. Because that shit's going to be expensive. And something I can do with this, actually, is I can step outside of Mediolanum, hire all of these mercenaries, and then disband them immediately so that they join the population of the city. Which gets Seleucid up to 18,398. We are only 5,500 population away from triggering the Marian reforms, and right now our growth rate is what exactly? I'm very upset that it doesn't tell me what 9% actually, comes out to be. So let me open a calculator. Fuck that. At 9%, I think that's pretty close to 1,000 a turn. But let's hit end turn and see what it actually is. We're at 18,398. Let's see what happens in the interim. Yeah, these sieges just don't matter. I don't know why they're trying. They have to defend themselves where they die. Why do people keep asking me to pay them for an alliance like I'm the one who's getting something out of it? I'll make you a different deal. I will sell you a map for $2,000. That's a great deal. Anyone would take that. I don't want... Just... No. Armenia, no. I don't want a fucking alliance with you. I don't know how much more clear I can be about that. So Campus Scythia looks like it's very clearly preparing to go to war with me, huh? In terms of announcements, candidate for adoption, you say yes immediately, otherwise he dies. Where'd he go? Iridium. Now, actually, I have enough generals down here at this point that I'm going to send him across the sea, or across the Italian peninsula, and build a boat for him to get on, and ship him down to Rhodes and Kydonia to start hiring Cretan mercenaries and Rhodian slingers. I'm besieged. I got Aedile and Quaestor this time. I'm actually receiving offices, which is kind of funny. Thessalonica is still the only city that is plagued, and let's go check out that rioting in Mazaka. Apparently, I was very wrong about how many people were going to be needed to keep them happy. But it's fine. As of this turn, I'm sure they'll be okay. And because they might not be, what I'll do is I'll do the population draining trick to make sure they're okay. Germania and Gaul have broken their alliances because Germania allied with the Senate. That's kind of hilarious. Are there any new mercenaries? There is a unit of Scythian mercenaries that I will gladly add to my army. And this is the last siege we need to set against Pontus. Now, the rest of this turn I will be handling next time. For now, this has been Rather Incoherent. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, then consider subscribing. It really helps the channel grow. And I'll see you around.